Is that a popular thing in the world of David Essex, that if you diss him, a penguin will arrive?
Maybe they start off small with the little fairy penguins, and if you persist, you get a bloody great emperor penguin.
Yeah, exactly.
He comes and ramraids your letterbox.
Or you get the ones that are outside sweet shops or whatever shops where there used to be the glass fibre penguins. That would really hurt.
Hello, you're listening to Tony Slattery's Rambling Club, and you're most welcome.
Well, it's Friday, it's 5 to 5, and the doors to Tony Slattery's Rambling Club are open once again. Hello, everybody. My name is Paul Carmichael.
And I have Alan Lair.
And Alan and I have just been looking through some brochures, thinking about, because we're coming up to summer now, aren't we, Alan? Thinking about possibly taking a little break. Not sure what we should do here, but I'm possibly something where we stay within the country or something where we go abroad. We're debating that, aren't we?
We are. I've fallen down a rabbit hole about the meaning of the word staycation, which used to mean holidaying at home, but now means holidaying in your own country, and will presumably fairly soon mean holidaying on your home planet. But I've got a huge stack of magazines and catalogues here from the travel agents that we're flicking through. Skegness is so bracing. How long has this travel agent been in operation?
The village travel agent's been there for quite a long time, haven't they? But see, this is the curious thing, though, because just outside the shed, somebody pitched a caravan, haven't they?
Oh, have you been twitching the curtains again?
I've been having a little look, and I'm just wondering what's going on, wondering if they've hooked themselves up to the mains or anything like that, which would be unfortunate, because we're hooked up to the mains of several other properties as well.
I hope they're not hooked up to the sewage pipe, because that could cause problems for the president if he's still going to the toilet.
Oh, after 5 months, that could cause some sort of massive blowback, but we can... Oh, there's the door. Do you want to get the door, see what that is?
Yes, of course. Hello, can I help you?
Hello?
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 Hello there. Could we help you?
Yes. I was wondering if I could hook up.
That's the sewage system.
No, not the sewage system. It's the electric. I need some electric because it's starting to get dark, and I don't want to be in this caravan in complete pitch darkness because people will talk.
That's a relief. When you said you wanted to hook up, I thought my Tinder had gone down again.
That can be a problem, the word hookup. But no, it's very much an established caravan term, which when you arrive at a caravan site, the first thing you do is hook up. Whether the world of Tinder has stolen this from the good people in the Caravan Club of Great Britain, I don't know. But no, a hookup is a simple device whereby electricity is transmitted from whatever you have to whatever I have.
Well, I'm sure we could manage something, couldn't we? But
we could latch it up to the old lightning rod and see what happens.
Yeah. Well, whatever. As long as there's a trickle, a dribble,
Oh, that's definitely the president's department.
Well, yes, of juice. That's what I'm after.
We could always manage that, I think. But hold on a moment. That's a familiar face. Is that Rowland Rivron?
It is the very own. Yes, I am. Hello.
Oh, Rowland, well, you're more than welcome then. I think you know the president, but he's a little bit indisposed at the moment. He's still in the toilet. He's been there for quite some time now. But certainly, if you'd like to come in, I'm sure that we can.
Can I?
Too much.
All right.
That's right.
I won't ask if I can use the toilet, but I'm happy to come in and sit with you.
Wonderful.
You are more than welcome. Alan and I are having to be not use the toilet for nearly 5 months now. It is getting a little bit desperate, but...
Wondered what that funny smell was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good job I learned so many knots in the Boy Scouts. That's all I could say.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thing is, Roland, what we normally do, you see, because it's Friday, we like to give the president's bingo machine a bit of a spin. It's a little bit magical, this thing, and we go on a bit of a ramble just to keep it all oiled up and in good working order until he returns. So if you've got a little bit of time, would you maybe like to come with us?
I've got about 3 years.
I think we can more than manage a little ramble in that time, right? In that case, let's give the machine a bit of a whirl and see where we end up. Off we go.
Tony's enchanted bingo machine. A curious contraption of cogs, levers, and glowing buttons that hums with ominous energy. This machine generates 3 completely random numbers. These numbers are fed directly into the Dewey Decimal System, the arcane reference system by which books and their contents are categorized. In this way, the bingo machine conjures from thin air a topic of conversation so enthralling, so wildly unexpected, that it leaves the members of the Rambling Club both bewildered and vaguely excited. Thus, another evening is saved from the brink of boredom, thanks to Tony's marvellous, possibly haunted and entirely inexplicable bingo machine.
Well, here we are in our first location, ready for our first ramble, and the numbers selected by the machine are
1, 7, 5,
175, 175, and rather wonderfully, in some ways, I think, the first subject is the ethics of recreation and leisure. I've never really considered the ethics of recreation.
Well, I think what we have to do is firstly clarify the definition of the word ethics. If you fill me in on that.
Alan?
I suppose ethics is the branch of philosophy that's concerned with what it means to live a good life, isn't it?
Yes, okay, so we're talking the ethics of recreation.
Yeah, and leisure.
And leisure. Is that where is recreation and leisure in our lives? How important is it? How unimportant is it? How relevant is it? How necessary is it? That's, I think, what we're looking at. Is it necessary at all? What does it do for us?
Do either of you find that you have less time these days for recreational pursuits because it's taken up by everything else, because the world's a bit mad and busy? Are you finding that at all? Because I am, certainly. Things I used to do just for the fun of, I don't seem to have the time for it. I don't know if that's because I'm getting older as well.
I think what happens with me is that if I find that I'm doing quite a few things back to back, as soon as I stop, I'm slightly out of sorts. It's like, hang on a minute, I should be doing something. Turning to recreation isn't the first port of call. It's more sort of, I should keep working because I'm on a roll working. And so the recreation thing, I've got a story for you. When I first started out, 16, 17, 18, I was a jazz drummer. I used to work in London, jazz gigs every evening. I loved it so much that I didn't go on holiday for 15 years. There was no need. I didn't need that sort of antidote to working, because working was such a fantastic thing. And this only cropped up when I got commissioned by Channel 4 to do a TV series called A Set of Six, where I played sextuplets. And we were going to Iceland to film one of the episodes with Ronnie the Grass. And I went to they said, can you get your passport and all that, because we're going to Iceland. Got my passport, 12 years out of date.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Couldn't believe it.
Wow.
Yeah. Had no need for any recreation. Drumming was my recreation.
Did you when you went over to Iceland though, did you find that then did that reawaken something in you, a need to travel or anything like that? Or
No,
you still
not at all. I mean, I was over there filming, so there was no down days. We were there for 10 days, and we had to film 20 days worth of stuff, which is the usual thing. So when we got there, we were working, but by then I'd finished drumming, and I was now obviously doing stuff in telly. But by then, the idea of doing these things on television, that was, I mean, a lot of people say this. the truth is, I'd have done that for nothing, but they paid me, and it went down quite well, and so they asked me to do more. But the thing was that I never considered it work. So if you don't consider it work, if you're not working, you're recreating. So I was getting up, getting dressed, and recreating.
That's yeah. No, I think that's who was it who said that if your work becomes your leisure, you'll never work again? Oh, I've completely mangled that.
Harold Shipman.
Harold Shipman. Is that what just after the police arrived?
I mean, I'm not unlike that. I think there was a period where I didn't go on holiday for about 10 years. Just because it didn't cross my mind to. I'm not too sure why. Rather like you, though, Roland, when I was growing up, we just took caravan holidays. We had a trailer tent, which was the weirdest looking thing ever, sort of like a flat pack caravan. That was a lovely thing that used to be dragged all over the country. I adored the trailer.
It's very clever how it unfolds. And what's great about the flat pack trailer tent is that you're not sleeping on the ground. You're sleeping on the bits that fold out. So the two big lids that come out of the trailer tent truck, as it were, they're your sleeping quarters. So you're off the ground. So you're as good as in a caravan, but you're under canvas. It's the perfect combination.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love that. And so it never occurred to me that maybe there was a need to go abroad or anything like that. I don't think I actually went to, no, I didn't go abroad till I was in my early 20s. There was just no need because I'd been brought up to explore the country instead.
Right. And you weren't lured in by any advertising or television shows or exotic films or anything like that?
No, my mum used to basically sort of try and put us off going abroad and say, no, you wouldn't like it abroad. But I think that was just because she didn't want to spend money.
Right. When I first went abroad, it was to Paris. And back then it was like, whatever you do, don't drink the water. And I thought, what sort of a heathen place is this? Where you can't even turn the bloody tap on and have a glass of water. You've got to get it from a mountain. It's like, and there's a tap just there. That was strange. I understand that that's all changed now. I think France has largely caught up. So we're good with that. But times change, I fell into doing the bloody holiday show for the BBC.
Yeah.
See, now I was going on holiday 3 times a week. It was just bizarre. I ended up after 4 years. I've been everywhere, but for 2 days.
Yeah.
You see? So have I been on holiday? No, I've been to all of these places that I can't list from A to B. And was I on holiday there? No, I was working. But my work was my recreation.
Yeah.
So in a way, I was.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about times changing, I remember my parents telling me that they went to see the Tutankhamun exhibition, when Tutankhamun's death mask came to London.
Yeah.
And when was that? The late 60s, maybe? And there were queues round the block for it.
Right.
And my dad said, of course, in those days, we never thought you'd be able to get to Africa. We're kind of living in a golden age now of accessibility of travel for people on...
I'm blaming Freddie Laker for that.
Yeah.
So, he was the man that opened the floodgates.
Yeah, and there's gonna come a point in the not too distant future, because of the scarcity of fossil fuels and what have you, that it's gonna become impossible again. So we're living through a very brief period of history where travel is accessible to,
everybody,
rich Westerners like us, at least. Yeah.
My kids, when we go down with the caravan, when we're down in Biarritz, my kids say, "Oh, we'll come out for a couple of days," and they buy a return plane ticket from London airport to the Biarritz airport for 34 quid.
Oof.
I mean, if that's happening, how are they making any money? Do they have any maintenance people? Have they laid all those people off? Are they no longer getting new tyres? What's happening that they can charge 34 quid to travel to Biarritz and back?
Well, It's a really interesting thing, isn't it, with the way that pricing has gone as well, I think, because just before COVID happens, we were planning to go up to stay with my in-laws who live up in Scotland, and the train prices were just astronomical. And my wife did a little bit of Googling, and she realised it would be almost... Well, no, it would have been slightly... it would have been sort of more than half price for us to have flown from Liverpool to Paris to Edinburgh. It would have cost a hell of a lot less than taking the train up, which is just insane.
Yeah. There was something in the paper several years ago about a guy going to a football match, and it was in the United Kingdom, but he flew from the town, the city he lived in. He flew to Paris and got the plane from Paris to where the football match was in England, and it was cheaper than him getting on the train. It was just, that's bonkers.
Yeah.
I mean, surely really intelligent people can see that that's wrong.
Well, there's an ethical thing straight away in terms of ethics of recreation. I mean, I've always enjoyed train travel. I also can't drive, which is another reason to like it. But the way that the prices are going at the moment, it's just, again, Cornwall. We went to Cornwall about 4 years ago, and we flew down to Cornwall because it was so much cheaper to do. Also 35 minutes instead of, I think it was going to be 9 hours on the train. But again, a fraction of the price, which just seems absurd, really.
I know. It doesn't equate, because you'd think, flying, planes, aviation, that's got to be more expensive than things that are sort of landlocked. It's bizarre. I went to interview Donny Osmond in Liverpool for the Virgin Drive Time show that I was doing. And because Virgin were paying for it, me and the producer got a first-class ticket to Liverpool from London, £480.
Jesus.
That was 28 years ago. Bonkers.
Absolutely, it's absurd. So there is an ethical question there.
Yeah.
I know there was a phase, wasn't there, when Virgin were running the West Line connection, where you'd get a train to or from London, Liverpool, and the upgrade to first class was a flat £15.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
They stopped doing it just before Avanti took over, but yeah, for a while there, your Wi-Fi and your meal and your free drinks or whatever was a flat £15.
Well, you can't knock that.
No, it's worth doing. Yeah.
But you see, Virgin moved into planes, didn't they? And their price of travel's gone through the floor with them. Talking about getting over to the west coast of America for like £250. It's just bonkers.
So it is literally halfway around the world.
Yeah.
For £250.
Yeah. In terms of ethics of recreation and leisure, I'm trying to think of anything that you could say was unethical in terms of standard sort of like recreation and leisure that people do. But I think that all I can really think of is that a lot of people would, of course, say that fox hunting is unethical. I'm trying to think of anything else that we could say was.
Heroin.
Yeah. Dubai.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really the full ticket.
No.
But I don't know, you see, but the very nature of the term recreation and leisure doesn't imply anything sort of negative, does it? Or wasteful.
No. You've got to remember these categories were put together at the start of the 20th century, so you're probably looking at a holdover of that very Victorian thing about the deserving and the undeserving poor. And,
right.
What are instructive educational ways for you to spend your leisure hours, and what are the bad ways? I don't know. Do you remember? Is this true? Wasn't there a thing under Cromwell's Puritan Parliament whereby he banned certain forms of recreation, like football, as being unchristian and not ethical? You had to spend your weekends doing something improving, like archery.
Right. That sounds a bit more like the Amish. I was wondering whether do the Amish, what do they do for recreation? Because they're sort of beyond God-fearing, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like they have a cut-off point in time, don't they? And you're not allowed to use anything that's been invented after that point.
Right.
Which includes buttons and zip fasteners. So you have to use all their clothes have to have old-fashioned hook and eye toggles and things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen them putting up a barn. They do it by hand. It's mightily impressive. You know, where they just hoik one end up and then they hoik the other end up and they put a roof on it somehow, not using machinery, but doing it all by hand. You never, the film that I saw, you never saw small children being forced into hard labour. So, I mean, it looked like the way they put this barn up, it looked very much like they were enjoying it and it was a form of recreation.
Yeah.
Even though it's work.
You know what? I could actually go with that. I've often thought that something I would love to do is there's all the National Trust and so on, where you can just go off to somewhere like St Kilda and you can just build stone walls for 2 weeks. I love that idea, which I know would be people's idea of not a holiday, but I can see the appeal of that, of going up there and sort of maintaining an ancient property or something. I think that would be a lovely thing to do.
Yeah, but what? And taking the food out of the mouths of stone wall builders all over the place.
Well, it's unethical then, isn't it?
Yeah. But I suppose it's kind of like occupational therapy, isn't it? I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and when Winston Churchill had attacks of depression, he used to go out into his garden and build a wall.
Right.
Because there was something about the mechanical action of doing the same thing over and over again. And, you can look at it at the end and you've done a thing and you've got it right and that's good for your psyche and that sort of thing.
No, that I can see that working. I'm very fond of tiling a wall. I'll tile a wall tomorrow.
Same thing, isn't it? Well, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's something to do about quantity. You know, when you've got a lot of tiles, you've got a lot of bricks. It's quite nice working with something you've got a lot of.
Right, second location, second set of numbers. The numbers this time are
3, 1, 4.
314, 314, and that is, the subject is General Statistics of Europe. Anyone know any exciting, fun or sexy statistics? I can't think of any off the top of my head.
About Europe?
Yeah.
Ideally.
This is a completely dark topic for me. I mean, statistics, I'm not good with numbers. Europe, I can cope with. But anything of interest about Europe that can be quantified, I don't know. I mean, you'd have to, that's the question you ask, the European ambassador to whatever.
Yes.
I'm very fond of the Vic Reed statistic.
What's that?
88.8% of statistics are made up on the spot.
Right. Yes.
I can believe that.
Yeah. No, that sounds like a truism.
We had national or international, I don't know, it's Nurses' Day in work the other day.
Right.
So I work in a hospital. And there was on the first floor, there was a big display about Florence Nightingale.
Yeah.
And how she reduced deaths in the Crimea through the power of nursing.
Right.
And the fun thing about that is she didn't.
Really?
Yeah, she wasn't a particularly good nurse by all accounts, but what she was brilliant at was statistics.
Ah.
So what she did was she collated the nursing statistics, and she brought the death rate down by noticing patterns in the numbers and what the successful nursing strategies had been and that sort of thing. And she was actually, although she herself suffered with depression for much of her life and was largely bedridden, she was also, I think, the first female member of the Royal College of Statisticians.
Right. So she never got her hands dirty.
No, she wasn't great as a ward nurse. No, but she brought a lot of nursing techniques that were statistically proven into Britain, and that was her big contribution to British nursing. Wasn't the hands-on stuff. It was the top-down analytical skills.
Well, this is coming as news to me. I mean, I thought it was because she was depicted roaming from ward to ward, caring for
with a lamp.
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, with the lamp. Yeah,
The lady with the lump, as Spike Milligan described.
yeah. Well, she was the one that was going the extra mile by as far as the etchings were concerned.
Yeah, well, apparently all that touchy-feely stuff just wasn't really her wheelhouse at all. She wasn't good at it.
She just wanted to get back to the table with the pen, papers,
And I've,
number crunching.
yeah. I'm sure I remember there's some, maybe on QI they claimed that she invented the pie chart or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, she was a better chief nurse, a better commander of nurses than she was a nurse.
How strange.
Wow.
Well, I mean, were statistics and everything that she was doing, was that very much in an early sort of stage, early part of its life?
I think in terms of its application in medicine, certainly, yeah, because when was the Crimean War? Late 18th century?
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of the period where you were moving from what Ben Goldacre has described as eminence-based medicine, i.e. the opinion of the most famous doctor is the one that doctors tend to believe, to evidence-based medicine, i.e. the thing that kills fewest patients is probably the way to go. And
Right.
it's not long since, at that stage, I think, since Emanuel Semmelweis died in a madhouse, who was a Swiss-German doctor,
Right.
who was widely derided by the doctoring profession at the time for suggesting they should pick up on things that nurses and midwives do, like wash your hands between seeing patients.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, when did it? Because that all changed. I'm thinking about Clink Street and where the surgeries used to be in the 1800s, and where there'd be an audience in the theatre.
Yeah.
People could just watch and hang out, and they were wondering why all these people kept dying. Then they sort of said, well, let's not have anyone in, and fewer people died. And it's like, oh, well, what about if we cover our mouths? And what about if we wash up? And suddenly, that, like you're saying about that statistic thing, it's suddenly, survival rates going through the roof.
Yeah, that's right. People forget now that the reason it's called an operating theatre is because you used to have an audience when you were operating. And sometimes that would be medical students, so you'd do an operation in front of a class of students to show them how it's done. And sometimes that would just be the paying public who'd come in and go, yeah, that looks like...
And when it was the medical students, I think probably the actual operation was probably twice as long, because there's all the explaining. You're not just eavesdropping on what's going, the guy who's cutting open this bloke's body is actually talking about it and, people's attention to various things that are dripping.
Yeah, absolutely. Holding bits up and going, now this is what clean looks like.
Yeah.
And that's now the Surgeons' Hall in Edinburgh, of course, where they would do those things. That's now one of the best venues in the Fringe to perform in, because the acoustics in there are absolutely wonderful. But you are stood where people were chopped up, which is a very strange experience.
Well, you're stood where people died, and a lot of people died during the Fringe on the very stage.
Yes, that's true.
Some of Edinburgh's most notorious criminals were closely involved with the medical profession. Burke and Hare.
Yeah, the body snatching.
Yeah. Well, their market was were doctors who were illicitly dissecting bodies to get an idea of what they looked like, because it was illegal at the time. It was desecration of the corpse.
Yeah.
But without doing that, how do you know what?
How do you learn?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, what we can do here, though, is we can ramble over this way slightly now, because we've gone in that direction, and we can talk about something that you did, Rowland, which is a medical game show, can't we?
Yes. Called Tibs.
Talk to us about Tibs and Fibs.
Well, if only you might be able to help me out with the. It's the guy, the doctor that regularly writes in Private Eye.
Oh, Hilary Jones.
Hilary Jones, yeah, and they had a show together on television for a while. It's another doctor, but they were the team captains. Tony was the host of the show, and I think I'm right in thinking it was largely based on the body, medical things, the questioning, the line of inquiry. I did about 50 of them, and I can't remember for the life of me what went on in it. Such was the state of various people's inebriation during the program. And the other thing being that they would record 3 in an afternoon. But it was medically based, and 2 learned doctors. That it was a bit up its arse because they would just lapse into very, very specific detail. Leaving the 2 invited guests either side of them just speechless. It's like, well, I'm sorry, we can't follow that. I can't chip in and correct him on the past perfect, thing about appendix. But so it was a show that it lasted about 2-3 years, I think. I think it actually was on in the afternoon. Such was its appeal.
That's amazing, though, isn't it? That you managed to get 3 years or so out of something so, niche, I suppose. Really.
Yeah.
It's full of lovely moments of, Margie Clark will be on the panel.
Yeah.
And they'll bring on a heavily muscled man wearing a small Speedo trousers. Yeah, and Tony will say to Margie Clark, can you point out on this gentleman where his lateral pterygoid muscle is?
That's it.
And Margie Clark will just point at his face and go, it's there. And he'll go, yeah, you're right. That was a stupid question.
Yeah. But you remember this show, don't you?
I specifically remember that, why Margie Clark would know where your lateral pterygoid is. Maybe, of course, she presented The Joy of Sex for a long time, so maybe she was quite good on anatomy.
I'm only familiar with the gluteus maximus, minimus, and medius, which is your arse. That's all I can. That's all I could bring to the table, really. Knowledge of my arse.
Your arse.
Yeah,
that's because you're a drummer, which is all in the hands, and your hands don't contain any muscles at all. So
do they not?
No, all the muscles that control your fingers are in your wrist.
In the wrist, good lord.
Yeah, it's all done with tendons.
No muscles at all.
No muscles in your hand at all. There.
Well, I tell you, because somebody else told me this as well. If you get your thumbs and you push them against the bottom of your index finger, there's a little lump there. Can you see that? Probably not, because you're not a drummer. But drummers have a very big, and that's got to be, is that a muscle that's been developed between the thumb and finger, because that's where the stick is. And that's where you're gripping. Maybe it's just a developed tendon. I don't know.
Ah.
Well, a bit of callousing or something, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Could be.
David Essex showed me that, funnily enough, because he used to be a drummer.
Oh, really? Eric, my wife has been listening to his Cover Shots album quite actively. But it's bloody terrible. It's just him doing covers of other songs that people have already done better than he did.
Yeah. That's a slippery slope, that one.
Yeah.
And it's a sign, very clear sign, that you have no material. And that other songs that people have written are better than the songs you've written. There's a lot of you have to sort of admit to when you start doing that.
It's not even like he's done anything experimental with the covers. He's not changed the arrangement in any way. He's just doing straight covers of songs he can't sing as well as the original artist.
Good Lord.
Wow.
But I wonder whether he's been blackmailed to do this. And he doesn't want to do it, but there's somebody holding one of his kids ransom or something like that, saying, unless you produce this album for me, we're going to send your kids' ears, first class. That could be, I mean, it's worth thinking about. Anyway,
I think it's worth very much thinking about. Well, here we are, third set of numbers for our final ramble, and those numbers are
6, 4, 2.
642. And that means our final ramble is about meals and table service. Meals and table service. I was reading earlier today about how awful it is if you don't tip in America. But you're now meant to tip, if not just for the food, but you're meant to tip for beer. So if you get a beer, you're meant to tip every single time. So your final bill can be about 30% more than it actually looks like, which always seems a little odd to me. Shouldn't you maybe just pay people a decent wage? But
That's
sorry, go on.
That's the thing about tipping in America, isn't it? Is that there are a lot of states where if you work in waiting on service, they are allowed to pay you under the minimum wage because it assumes that tipping will make the difference.
Right. That's not ideal, is it?
No.
I mean, how often have you come across anyone who's ever received the bill at the end of the evening and said, "Oh yeah, that's fine. Can you take that £14.85 off for the service charge that's been automatically added?" Have you come across anyone who's done that?
I've never done that. I get quite nervous about eating in restaurants in case I make a bit of an arse of myself. And I never quite know how you should tip, but then my wife says that sometimes I come across as quite toadying and sort of like overly thankful for this meal that they're providing. She said they are just doing their job. But
You're not the first.
No.
I tend not to eat in restaurants where they add a service charge because I don't trust that that's going to the waiting staff. I think the owner's probably pocketing that.
Yeah. I mean, what we try and do is we'll have a meal, but we'll make sure we've got a little bit of cash on us, and we'll just slip the woman or the man that's been serving us, potentially very gracefully. We'll slip them, a tenner, 15 quid, something like that. And that sort of slightly ensures that she's getting something out of it. And it's amazing. When we do that, these people are just completely gobsmacked. It's like, what, really? For me? Now, here, under the table? Thank you. It's like, it's almost like a revelation. It's like, shouldn't this shit happen all the time? Serve us the food that's been paid for by the person that owns the restaurant. But the degree to which you serve us, and we'll pay the restaurant the money because they bought the food and everything, and they cooked it. But it should be a completely separate deal between us and the person looking after us.
Yeah,
they're almost waitresses and waiters should be completely freelance, and you just go in and you're self-employed. You're not sort of paid a wage by the restaurant.
Yeah, no, that absolutely. I would agree with that. And it would take away sort of like so much of the worry as well. It would feel like much more a personal thing, wouldn't it? That you're actually saying thank you, rather than doing something that you have to do almost. But
and also there's a tendency, I think, if the person is getting all the tip, then they're going to make that a little bit more effort because they're going to get a little bit more tip.
Yeah,
rather than I'm on a flat fee, so I'm just going to throw this food at you.
Which is what it's supposed to be for. It's supposed to be a reward for good service, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Show me the good service. I'll give you...
Tips have gone down since COVID because people stopped carrying money about.
Well, yeah, money is getting scarcer and scarcer. I mean, people busking on the street with card readers. What's the world coming to? That's mad. But the government don't want us to have cash because it's a dark economy.
Actually just do a bit of experimental I mean, I say this, my wife does experimental cooking and it goes quite wrong. She can cook the colour out of food, but isn't it a good thing to sometimes just throw everything in a pan and see what happens? There's a creativity then.
I think so, but my wife's pointed out that what happens is that after about the 15th thing that you've thrown in, soon as you then smother it all with cayenne pepper, you're pretty much you would have been better off with 3 ingredients that you could then taste each of the ingredients and the cayenne pepper, rather than the 15 ingredients that are all completely null and void because of the cayenne. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's true. I suppose so. Al, are you much of a keen cook?
No, not even slightly. But that's my wife always thinks I'm weird because I won't have gravy on a roast dinner. And that, to me, Roland's just kind of hit that nail on the head for me, because a roast dinner is sort of 8 or 9 different things you can happen to meat. And then get gravy over it, they all taste the same. What's the point of that?
Yeah, you standardise the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Why not taste the individual, especially if you've got something, if you're having lamb, which is a delicious meat. Why repeat it? Yeah.
Would you grace a bit of lamb with some mint?
Do you know there is an apocryphal factoid that does the rounds about mint sauce, which is supposedly that Queen Elizabeth made it standard that you had to have, there was almost like a law passed that you had to have mint sauce with lamb to stop people eating all the bloody sheep, because they were doing all the woolen mills out of work.
Really?
Yeah, so the mint sauce is so horrible that a story has got about that it was deliberately invented to stop people eating all the lamb. No, I wouldn't. Horseradish with beef, I don't mind.
Well, why don't surely you could just cook a bit of lamb and then piss on it? People wouldn't eat it.
Yeah, that's true. Why go through all the effort of inventing?
You know, why? I know I'm going to invent mint sauce. No, I'm just going to piss on the lamb and then I'll have it.
Mind you, this is the 17th century. I mean, piss was a fairly standard industrial ingredient in leather, so you'd be wearing it on your shoes, and most people didn't bath, so they probably smelled of piss.
They just welcomed the urine on the lamb. They were just delicate at the time.
Yeah, couldn't afford your own urine in those days.
No.
Well, one bloke up the street had a piss for the lot of you, and you were grateful for it. On the set.
Yeah, that he would come round with a cart and a bell. The pisser would come round and just handing out bottles of piss for your lamb.
Yeah.
You've hit on something, haven't you, there? Because there was someone who would come round and you would let the night soilman, so he would actually come round and he would collect your human waste in a bucket outside your door, and you could use it in explosives.
Yeah, saltpeter from urine and guano was one of the 3 key ingredients of gunpowder. And again, you could sell, the night soilman would sell urine to the tanners. They would use urine to tan leather. Yeah, but used a lot of chemical processes.
But I wonder whether it would tenderise the lamb slightly.
Well, if you marinated it, I suppose it would.
Now, which of us is going to try this?
I suspect Paul's wife may already have given it a go.
It wouldn't surprise me at all, mate.
Well, but maybe get Blumenthal or whatever his name is. Get him on the show and challenge it. Yes? Phone him up, say, can you marinate some lamb in your own piss? And then 2 weeks later, come on the show.
Yeah? He could do a trial run using his network of little chefs.
Yes.
In a blind taste test, which do people prefer, your stale porridge or Rowland Rivron's piss lamb?
Yeah. Piss lamb, you see, that's got a certain je ne sais quoi. Piss lamb, sir?
No, it doesn't have je ne sais quoi. We know exactly what the ingredient is. And yeah, it's got a ring to it, hasn't it? Rivron's piss lamb.
Yeah. Only from Iceland.
It's great for culinary technologies, this is pitch Melbourne.
Yeah, but you see, people would sneer at it, but then soon as people were suddenly eating that and living to 125, they'd think, oh, hang on, you might have something here. But it's a very dangerous thing. Don't think you can do it at home on your own. Don't think you can have a little breakaway piss lab going on. No, it's got to be done. It's got to be done through the proper channels.
Yeah, it's like Japanese fugu. You've got to be a certified chef to produce proper Rivron piss lab.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Delicacy. It's starting to. It's got a certain magic to it. And think about all the sheep we've saved.
What? Because no one will want to eat it?
Oh, it's such a delicacy. I could only prepare 2 sheep a year. At the cooks. So we're only culling 2 sheep a year. Now there's a lot of sheep get away scot-free.
I think we're onto something here. Well, here we are back in the shed. Our rambles for now are over. And Rowland Rivron, it has been an absolute pleasure to ramble with you this week. And of course, rambling is something that you did with our wonderful president, Mr. Slattery, as well. What are your memories of Tony, Rowland, when you think back?
A very lovely, warm, cuddly bloke. Towards the end of his life, always a glass in his hand. Was upset if you didn't have a glass in your hand. He would make sure that happened. I used to see him at the Bachelor Club 30 years ago. He was always he's always on the table with about 6 or 8 other guys, and they were all it wasn't sort of raucous laughter. They were all sort of talking as if they were part of a gang of, I don't know, people that concentrated on not laughing. It was very strange because, you know, I had Tony down as a comedian. But maybe it was all this black belt jiu-jitsu people that it was taking out for a meal, you know, and they're very polite and respectful. So, they weren't saying very much. But I never saw him completely off his face. He was never an embarrassment. Well, what else can you say? He was very generous. And he wasn't one of those people when he was hosting and all that. He wasn't one of those people that sorry, get out of the way. This is my show. He was very, very humbled, and it's like, oh wow, I'm here with you. This is great. It wasn't like, yeah, you're lucky to be here with me. There was none of that. That's pretty much it, because I saw him on Tips and Fibs, and I saw him in the club, in the couch. And that was about it.
No, I think that's how we'd remember him as well, wasn't it, Ali? He was so generous all the time, even just recording things with him. And you'd think, good God, you're Tony Slattery. But it was always about, no, it's about you as well. It was more about everybody else than him, I think, quite often.
Yeah, it's like he didn't want the attention on him.
Mm.
Yeah. He wanted to be in the room with you, but he didn't want to be the centre of attention in the room, even despite the loud chirp. That didn't ring true. He was basically a quiet bloke, I think.
That's what a lot of people who improvised with him said, that despite the fact that it was clearly his name that sold the show, he was always such a team player. You never kind of like, oh no, this is the Tony Slattery show. He was always willing to step back and let other turn in the limelight.
So many people, and we can't name names, that when doing shows, it was like, how many minutes have I got on me? How many gags have I got? I mean, Rick and Aid used to argue like mad about that. When they were going through a script, it was like they would count how many gags each of them had. And if one had more gags than the other, you would be like, oh, whoa, hang on, this isn't fair. It's like, no, Tony would never do anything like that. It was as you say, the ensemble, nature, and just the idea of, can't we just all have a lovely time? It's not cutthroat. It's not, it is an industry, it is a business, comedy and all that. But, I didn't approach it like that. And I don't think he did. It was like I was on holiday when I was doing it. And it sounded like he was as well.
Well, Rowland, listen, thank you so much. It's been lovely. It's been an absolute pleasure rambling with you. So thank you for coming along with us. Thank you to everyone at home for listening. And, of course, we hope that you enjoyed this week's meeting of the Rambling Club.
The club meets every Friday. But if you'd like to get in touch while I'm still muttering, here's how you can find your fellow members.
Tony's official website is at www.tonyslattery.com, and you can get in touch with us on the contact form on the website.
And we're at Twitter at Slattery Live. Please feel free to use the hashtag TSLC to discuss any of this week's topic.
I still loiter on the remnants of Twitter occasionally at Paul Carmichael V, but you can find me on Blue Sky, and you can also find Slattery Live on Blue Sky as well.
How can we find you, guest
You can
host?
find me on, it's a pinboard in the corner shop in Highgate. It's next to the woman that's advertising a room and personal services.
Just underneath the missing bicycle.
Yes.
And as well as a missing bicycle, Tony also has a Facebook group at www.facebook.com/group/the_Tony/.
And he's on Instagram at Tony_Slattery_official.
And if people want to join the Rambling Club for themselves, Paul, how do they do that?
Well, the Rambling Club is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you're more than welcome to join us. All you have to do is head over to www.patreon.com/Slattery Live. There's all sorts of perks for members there. You can hear episodes in advance, and you can see all sorts of things to do with our lovely president, Mr. Tony Slattery. So head to www.patreon.com/Slattery Live.
So please do get in touch by any of those methods. We'd be thrilled to hear from you.
And
if you've enjoyed our little talk about the general statistics of Europe, why not give our vital statistics a little boost by giving us 5 stars on your podcasting app or leaving us a nice little review?
oh, lovely. And we will be back next Friday for another ramble at 5 to 5, and we hope that you'll join us then. But in the meantime, it's a goodbye from myself, Paul Carmichael. It's a goodbye from my colleague, Mr. Alan Lear.
Goodbye.
And it's a goodbye from our very special guest president, Rowland Rivron.
Goodbye, sir. Yes, thank you.
You have been listening to Tony Slattery's Rambling Club with our special guest president, Rowland Rivron. He was accompanied by Stephen Fry as the voice of the bingo machine. Acting President Rivron was assisted by Paul Carmichael and Alan Lear. The music was composed and performed by Michael Livesley and Andy Frizzle. Silly Voices are by Michael Livesley, and the show's concept is by Paul Carmichael. Our producers are Stuart Morris and Alan Dybing, and the show's researchers is Sola Carmichael. The show's producers are Erica Lear and Mark Hutchinson, and the program was edited by Harry Carmichael. Our executive producer is Chris Castle, and the series executive producer is Mark Strickson. Tony Slattery's Rambling Club is a Fanfinito production.
Goodbye, and thank you for listening.